Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Colin, I'm Lee, and this is the Fitness. What we got for you today is a little information on running your first 5K, which can be daunting, I know. It's quite a while to run, but with our help, I think you'll be perfectly capable of hitting your goals perfectly.
Yep, so training for a 5K. So what you want to do for beginners to train for a 5K is basically start out doing a time trial. It could be a mile, it could be 2 miles. So doing a time trial kind of helps lean in what pace you're running. For example, if you're running something like a tempo run. So when for example, like for me, I can run maybe a 2 mile at like 13 minutes or something like that. That's about 6:30 pace. So when you're going out doing something like a tempo run, you want to it's a negative split. So when you start out, if you're doing 4 miles, you want to start out from 0 to 1 miles running something like maybe, for me, probably like 7:20. And then when you hit the 1 mile, you negative split. So basically you're running a little faster. From miles 1 to 2, maybe go 7:15. And then when you hit 2 miles, and then 2 to 3, you go 7:10. So basically just getting into the habit of negative splitting each mile you run for tempo runs. And then for long runs, you want to run really kind of slow. Is interval workouts or track workouts, where it's basically you're going out and you're on the track, you're doing very fast workouts. So every time when you're doing that, you always want to warm up. Even if you're doing something like a tempo run or a long run, you always want to do some type of a warm up before you go out there, just to get your body, just like the video we just posted about weightlifting, making sure you're getting your body ready.
Think about it, the oil in a car. The oil has to go through all the moving parts so that it doesn't crash and break against itself. Think of your knees as like a little oil that keeps the knees nice lubricated and they move fine.
Yeah, so you always want to warm up. And for like I said, in track workouts and interval runs, so making sure you're warming up, doing some drills, leg swings, just to get your body going. Yeah. And then for interval workouts, for doing fast workouts, it's also important because it works on your speed. So doing something like maybe mile repeats, which is running a mile on the track, obviously. And
the first mile repeat you do 6 minutes, second one you do like 6:05, 6:10, or do you want to keep it real close to that time you're aiming?
We kind of want to keep it close to 6 minutes. Like our coach usually had 6 to he usually averaged like 6 to 6:10, but it would be better just to be at 6 minutes. So, and like I said, after you do that, you're basically recovering for like 6 minutes, and then. But you're not standing around, like I said. You want to just quick gush of water, slowly jog around the track, just slow jog, do some like leg swings.
So it's like you get that lactic acid that burns your legs. You're trying to just get that flushed out with a little water, a little bit of movements.
Yeah, just flush, a little bit of movement in your body, not staying around, making sure the blood's still flowing in your legs, and making sure you're not staying around, because if you do, then your body gets a little stiff, and then you're gonna feel it in your calves, because your calves are gonna start tightening up. Yeah. Especially when you're running.
If they're doing these mile repeats, how many miles a week should we assume they're running? Like, let's say they're running 4 to 6 days a week. Mm-hmm. And how many miles a day would you say they would have to run?
For beginners?
For beginners. Let's say they've never ran their life. In their first run.
Mm-hmm. And they want to do a 5K.
Yeah.
How many miles you should be running for a 5K? So I would say for your first week training for a 5K, I would say about 10 miles a week. So it's about 2 miles a day. And then after that, the second week, bump it up to like about a mile. So do 2 to 3 miles a day, and that will average about to 12 to 15 miles a week. Just slowly bumping up that mileage is important, because the more miles you do, the better. Because then when you're running that 5K, that 3 miles it's gonna feel like nothing. You're gonna feel good. So it's very important to bump up those miles each week, just so you can get in the habit of running like running more miles a week and also running pretty far each day. Like I said, making sure you're also stretching and doing warm-ups before and then stretching after the runs.
Yeah.
You always want to
Because
stretch.
also, when you want the warm up is good for the before, but when once you've hit that run, your muscles, your ligaments are very like warm and lubricated, so they're actually primed for a good static hold stretch. Uh, you don't want to stretch when you're cold before workout, even though you warmed up, and stretching is good. You can stretch, but the main bulk of your stretching should be after your workouts, just because you're in a state where your muscles are relaxed and your tendons are relaxed, allowing you to get into a deeper, more profitable stretch for recovery.
Yeah, and your body's kind of like sore too. So it's very important to stretch after your runs. Just doing some type of like stretch, like quad stretches or in calves and doing hip flexors and.
We think like the main things that like will be tight for a new runner would be hips, calves, and knees.
I would say about hips, calves, because I've had a hip flexor strain before. I've had calf tightness, and I used to have one of my knees will always hurt, but that was like during track season. But like for cross season, it was mainly for someone to track, it was calf and hip flexor.
We actually, I think we're gonna make that would be a good one, a good stretching video, a little in depth. So actually look out for that. I just came to mind probably like a routine we can put up for them, for something to follow after or before a workout to really open those hips up and really like open all that muscularity up.
Yeah, and just stretching and doing a warm up before, stretching after. I've ran so much long. I've heard it so many times. So I want to inform every one of you guys here that is training or doing a run, and you're going to hear from a lot of runners. Main important thing while training is always hydrating throughout the day. Making sure you're drinking lots of water before you go on the run. Because the worst thing you can do is not hydrate enough and you go out for like a run, especially if it's on a hot day.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get dehydrated quick. So it's very important.
I've made that mistake many a times. I went out for a simple like it was not even a hot day. It was probably like 50 or 60
degrees.
50, it was nice and cool. But I had woken up that morning and I just had that feeling. Oh, I run feel real nice. A nice spring day, and I hadn't drank any water. I actually had a coffee because I was like I'm a caffeine addict. And I went out for this run. It was only an easy 3 miles. And I thought, okay, this is 3 miles. I drank water last night. You can't just wake up and run. You gotta hydrate. Because I got out there and I started cramping up really bad. And I had to walk almost the entire way home because I did a there and back workout. And once you do it once, you'll never do it again. Like that was my wake up moment of okay, you need to drink water. And on top of that, my buddy actually gave me one of these, which made me think about this, is a electrolyte drink. Because electrolytes help bring the water into the cell. So if you can, get a Gatorade, get a what's it called, a Powerade, or maybe just like what they call is I really hope they sponsor us one time, but it's called Liquid IV. I actually bought some for the race I did with him. They are an electrolyte packet that has good amount of the 3 main electrolytes, which are potassium, sodium, and magnesium. And having one of those is really good to really boost that flush of water into the system.
Yeah, and Gatorade chews. There's been times where I've ran in high school where my friends had Gatorade chills, and I used to eat one of those. We all used to eat one of those before the race. It was kind of, for us, it was just kind of a way to be like, it made us feel good because like I feel like eating the Gatorade chews because of how much energy it brings. It kind of just made us feel great.
Yeah.
So when we go out for when we ran that 3 miles, we just felt we had that inner confidence.
Let's pivot from training and recovery to nutrition.
Nutrition, strength, and conditioning.
Yeah. So on the topic of recovery, this is kind of recovery, kind of workout. Many runners just run, which is okay, But if you want to be this in the long term, your muscles are not used in all capacities. So the front of your shin, for one, isn't used as much in running, and that's what contributes to shin splints. A long time, shoulder pain you can get from pumping your arms can happen because of a weak rear delt. So strength and conditioning isn't just going to the gym and working out like a bodybuilder. It's working on those problem areas and strengthening what you do have. So let's say you're doing walking lunges, like my buddy really likes for some reason. I don't know why.
I used to do them in high school. Our coach made us do a lot, and I trust me, I hated it at first. But then, when I did the walking lunges and kept doing it, it just for me it came to my realization of how much it actually helped for runs.
Yeah, and there's a good rule of thumb. If you don't like the exercise, like it just doesn't feel fun for you, more than likely that's the exercise you need, because your body is like, we don't like this, we don't do this, because you don't do it, which means you need it.
Exactly.
So a few like key points is keeping the hip flexors strong but not tight, which is a combination of flexibility and mobility along with hip flexor movements. So leg lifts, like if you're hanging from a bar, are very good. Also abdominals, which I don't train.
I train for those abs.
Yeah.
All the time.
Abdominals, because there's a lot of lateral shifting in the shoulders when you're pumping. So you need to have good obliques. You have to get good rectus femoris. So doing a simple 5 to 10 minute ab circuit would be great. Knee stuff. So you don't have to do like squats, but I do suggest doing some form of knee flexion, which strengthens the muscularity around the knee and the joints. Because what a lot of people don't realize is when you're doing strength and conditioning, you're not just conditioning the muscle. You, in a small part, because there's a very lack of blood to this type of tissue, the tendons and ligaments are known to get stronger over time in stresses. So you actually have stronger joints in that way because they stabilize. So stabilization is very good. Using off-balance things, unilateral, one leg, is also a good way of telling your body, okay, we gotta stabilize. So like a tried and true method is get a pistol squat, and you'll have very bulletproof knees.
Yeah, and making sure you're lifting those, doing calf workouts too, because especially for me, in my past running stages, there was times where I had calf tightness before, and those aren't really good because I've had times where I would go out for runs and my calf would just tighten up, and it kind of just ruins the whole run. And there was times that I've had hip flexor strain before, which is basically kind of like it controls the movement of your whole bottom part of your body, your leg, and all that.
Let's close it out with one last segment.
But yeah.
So nutrition. So one thing that is touted around is talks about in the nutrition says, I come from a bodybuilding background, so I'm like protein. For the main source of energy from your runs will come in the form of glycogen, which means you're going to need a lot of carbs to replenish that. So a moderate to high carb diet would be preferable for running performance. And also getting a good amount of protein still is good too to preserve the muscle you have on your frame. And also because it just helps with the breakdown, because you are getting a breakdown from running.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, water, we've talked about. Drink your water.
Yep.
Hand me a water bottle. Drink your water.
Water.
I still drink coffee.
Except he likes to drink coffee.
Hey, coffee is made with water.
But it makes you crash.
It does, unless you keep the crash going until you crash at night.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to drink only 1 cup of coffee nowadays, and that's it. That helps me. But a little supplementation. So I wouldn't suggest protein powder as a supplementation for running, just because you don't need that massive amount of protein. If any supplements that I would suggest is is 2 things: a greens powder, just because every diet is deficient in greens, and possibly some sort of electrolyte powder if you can get an electrolyte drink, because electrolytes and hydration will be a best friend. And most electrolyte drinks have a little bit of carbs in them also. So there you go with more energy to drink around your workout.
Mm-hmm.
But try to stay away from fast food. My boy had McDonald's for the first time in so long, and he's like, "This is not right."
It was because I had to go pick up my dad and my stepmom from the airport, and it was late at night, and we were maybe supposed to go to Texas Roadhouse, but it was late, so they decided, let's just go to McDonald's. And I'm like, thinking to myself, it's like, I haven't had McDonald's in such a long time because I gave up on it. I gave up on fast food in general just because I realized then that it's just not healthy for you to eat some kind of fast food because it doesn't help. It was because, and for me, I gave up Coke way before I gave up fast food. I gave up on Coke because I realized it's just not good, and then I realized fast food wasn't good, so I stopped eating fast food. So I just came down to the point, it's like, okay, I'll eat out, but I'll do like maybe something good, something decent, something that's not fast food.
Like fast casual. You know, like it's not
Casual.
fast. It's like a Bulldog or
Bulldog.
it's like a Culver's.
Culver's, yeah. Or Augustino's, or like Subway.
Yeah.
Or
Because
Texas
you gotta
Roadhouse.
eat fresh.
Yeah. And Texas Roadhouse. Or
Oh yeah. Good old protein.
Chili's or Olive Garden. All those types of restaurants. Or Chick-fil-A or Chipotle.
Yeah. Some places you can get a good amount of complex carbs, good protein, and maybe some moderate fat, but fat we're not worried about because you need energy either way for these runs. But yeah, the most readily available energy source that you can consume is carbohydrates, and you can get it in the form of many things. Personally, I like to get it in the form of rice. Some people do better with bread, some people do better with potatoes, some people do better with just like starchy vegetables in general. It's up to you, and you gotta figure out yourself what your body performs best on. You will eat something, and you'll know if it was good for your body on your run. If you eat McDonald's and try to run, trust me, you'll be sweating this weird sweat. You'll be breathing weird. It's not good. You eat a good amount of chicken with some good rice and some vegetable, and you will feel like you're flying. So nutrition and hydration are the last thing we want to close out with. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Eat some.
Have a burger first.
Have a burger. Have some shitty pizza. Excuse my French, but eating something like they said, pizza or burgers or hot dogs or something, chicken, pork, steak.
Have a grilled
ribs.
piece of chicken. Have some ribs. You know, have a steak.
Exactly, a steak.
Who doesn't like a steak? Some pork chops.
Exactly. Who doesn't love steak? I go to Texas Roadhouse all the time. I get a steak.
Yeah.
And there's different types of steaks. Everyone has a specific type of steak, but my go-to is New York strip.
Ooh, that is a good cut.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the porterhouse is good, but the New York strip is
New
good.
York strip. That hits good. And then I guess
I'm hungry now.
now I just made this man hungry. But making sure, like for nutrition overall, just making sure you're evening out your nutrition, so you're eating
It's
a different.
balance.
Balance your nutrition. So eat something different every day.
Let's close this out here. I love each and every one of you. Stay fit, fast, and love fitness.
Love fitness. Yep.
Peace.
Peace out.